The day of presidential litigation has arrived. It's lawsuit time. In my hand is a legal demand letter addressed to Mr. Hunter Biden from the First Lady of the United States. Mrs. Trump is seeking $1 billion in damages if we don't take the video down, and if Hunter here doesn't issue a formal apology to Mrs. Trump.
That's not going to happen.
That was Hunter Biden saying, bring it on to the First Lady after she threatened to sue him for $1 billion for comments he made in a previous interview on Channel 5.
In that interview, Biden alleged that the president and First Lady met through a mutual acquaintance, Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what he said.
Knew each other well. They spent an enormous time together. According to his biographer, is that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Melania. That's how Melania and the First Lady and the president met.
Really?
Yeah.
Epstein made the intro.
Yeah, according to Michael Wolff.
Both of the Trumps have denied that allegation. Trump was recently asked about the new lawsuit by Brian Kilmeade on his Fox News radio show. Here's what he had to say.
She's suing Hunter for $1 billion. Is that the right thing to do?
Well, I said go forward. You know, I've done pretty well on these lawsuits lately, and I said go forward with it. Jeffrey Epstein had nothing to do with Melania and introducing. But they do that to demean. They make up stories. I mean,
Gotcha.
I can tell you exactly how it was, and it was another person, actually. I did meet through another person, but it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I told her, let's go ahead and do it. I'd let her use my lawyers.
Now, this isn't the first time the First Lady has threatened a defamation suit over allegations of a connection to Epstein. The Daily Beast and Democratic strategist James Carville have both taken down content where they made similar claims.
Well, I don't agree with suing the podcaster guy. He was just interviewing Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden said it. If it's false, if it's defamatory, then he can be sued for it. It seems to be false. I doubt they would be filing $1 billion lawsuit unless they had it pretty well established that Trump and Melania met through some other person.
Like, I just want to know what the parameters are
it.
for defamation, because in this particular instance, he's quoting a biographer, Michael Wolff, saying this is what he said through direct conversations with Epstein. Then he's also saying, yeah, and that's not, if you watch the whole interview, he's like, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you what he told me. He said he spoke to Epstein. That's what he told me. And obviously, Trump and Melania have both said that they met at Fashion Week in the 90s, and that's their story. They're sticking to it. I think the bigger issue, and unfortunately, and I don't agree with it, is throwing Melania under the bus to get Trump attached to Epstein and just keep that story going. And so that's what Hunter is doing by bringing this back full circle to how they met and talking about Epstein. It keeps Epstein in the news, and that's obviously, to me, the bigger goal. And unfortunately, Melania is just catching a stray right now. So rightfully, she should be mad and say she's going to sue him. Now, whether this lawsuit pans out because he said and accredited the statement to somewhere that it actually exists is one thing, but another thing is trying to sue him because he actually made a statement of definitively from his perspective.
Well, that's an interesting point. I'd have to watch that clip again then, right? If he attributed it to someone else, he might be on fine ground.
He specifically said I didn't say it. Michael Wolff said it.
Yeah, well, then he
the
might
biographer.
Be,
so it's kind of like, I understand the threat,
but
but also James Carville did.
Make it true either. I don't know if they've gone after other people. It sounds like
James Carville's taken it down. So he had content up that suggested the same thing, crediting the same biographer.
Right.
He took it down because he probably just didn't feel like dealing with it.
Well, right. You shouldn't leave up false content, even if you're not liable. It would just be better to take down something that is not accurate, even if you can say, well, I didn't say it, somebody else said it. I mean, because that doesn't always even work. I mean, the lawsuits of I remember closely following the Covington kids, the kids on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Nick Sandman, the kid who was accused of getting in the Native American guy's way, he successfully sued media outlets, even though if you read carefully, the media outlets mostly just attributed to that Native American man. He made the false statements. He falsely characterized how the interaction went down, and they just relied on what he said, but what he said was false, and they did get sued for it.
Well,
I always remind that anyone can sue anyone for any reason. So,
and this also falls into murky territory because the FCC has rules for television, and specifically broadcasts are different than cable and all these things. But when you get into podcasting, a space that we're all still navigating, like, this is a conversation on a platform, and we already talked about how the platform really can't be sued, so that's YouTube or all the other places that his podcast can be heard audibly.
The internet platform cannot be sued, right? So the standard is different, right?
The production company that creates the content can, but it still is like this endless, like, you can go either way. The argument can continue to go down a rabbit hole of like, wait, you're suing me for having a conversation. I'm not held to these standards. I attributed what I said. So it could go nowhere, but also the threat is supposed to make him move. Yeah. But Hunter Biden, who also seemed like he had some financial trouble recently, obviously still wants the smoke and wants to keep going with this. I don't know if this is the hill to die on. Hunter Biden seems to be very vocal. I'm trying to really see what the intentions are long term, because he's jumping in pretty much every single conversation that's open to jump into at this point, from his dad should still be running, turning on the Democratic Party, and now, so he's equal opportunity coming at everybody.
I'm always struck by how lazy people in our industry are. They get things wrong all the time. I was, not to get too personal about this, but I had some details of my personal life reported in the media a month ago, and it was amazing how much of it was just totally wrong and absolutely defamatory. But am I going to spend I don't care. I'm not going to waste time fighting them over it, particularly legally. But it was wrong, and so if those details got cited by someone else later, it would be, just because it's there online doesn't mean it's accurate. I just don't have time and don't particularly care to go have it corrected. But I guess if Hunter Biden made those claims, then I could sue him for $1 billion. But it wouldn't be fair to him, actually, because I didn't challenge the underlying. But just because I didn't challenge it doesn't mean it's not correct.
But so you think Channel 5 should take the content down? It should be their, it's their choice, right?
No,
so you don't
think they should. Well, I don't know. I think maybe they put a note in the video saying
Melania
and Trump contend that this is false and something like that.
Yeah, and then that's kind of would make.
I certainly don't think so. YouTube should not make them take it down, and YouTube is not liable for the content. And this is very important, and why Section 230 is so important, and why I challenge every Republican and Democrat who say that it ought to be changed. YouTube, if YouTube was responsible, if YouTube could be sued, so according to Section 230, Melania can sue that guy. She can sue Hunter. She cannot sue YouTube because the content appears at YouTube. YouTube is safe. If YouTube could be sued, they would take the video down immediately. They would take down our show. They would take down everything. There would be no content. If they were liable for every second of the bajillion videos that appear on the platform, it just could not exist. So every time someone says, we could change Section 230, I go, you could destroy the entire internet in an instant if you do anything different with this law.
The interesting thing about this whole thing to me is that President Trump is probably, and this is not by any deep research, but just the number of cases he's been involved in is 4,000, around that. So he's probably the most litigious president we've ever seen in our country's history. And these are some cases that he's been involved in unwillingly and some lawsuits that he's put together. But it's what type of time do you have to encourage your wife to use your lawyers and get involved? You can't just sue away problems.
It sounds like he wasn't encouraged. It sounds like she wanted to do it.
And then he encouraged her to keep going.
And he said
but
she could do
you
it.
see how you said, oh, there's a story about me. Doesn't shine in the best light and got a few things wrong. I'm over it.
Well, I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah, so but if you were, it seems like you might do something better with your time. President Trump probably could do something better with his time. So can Melania, who's talking about a guy whose dad is not in power, won't ever be again. He probably likely will never be in proximity to power anytime in the near future. So much surrounding him. Why even? It's what's the point of engaging here? That's what I think for Melania. What's the point of getting involved in this back and forth? You should just try the go high route. People notoriously love first ladies. Their approval ratings are always high.
You don't have to suffer lies being told about you. I don't think that's going the low route.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to engage with him either. He's not the only person that said it. There's smaller podcasters that are equally relevant in politics to him. You know what I mean? Because right now Hunter doesn't really carry any weight or influence. And so, I don't know. There was a thing to Michelle Obama about all the ways that she ignored people that I love so much when she was in the office with Obama, that I think Melania could take a page out of her plate.
She's not exactly taking a back seat.
How long has Obama been out of office? But during the presidency, she mostly chilled. And that could be something
I have no expectation that Melania just suffers
it's not
liars
suffering.
if she thinks it's
Nothing's happening
lies.
Here.
And
like you said, Jeffrey Epstein is a non-issue, right, for MAGA. So
this is exactly the reason, though, that Donald Trump said he didn't want to just release every single thing that has Epstein stamped on it, because people are going to be smeared unfairly, as is this case. Melania and Trump are being smeared incorrectly, they claim, as saying that's not how they met, and I suspect that's not how they met. So this is exactly the cautionary tale that Trump was proposing when he said this whole thing
unfortunately, we're going to keep talking about Epstein, and I hope that Melania is not in the crosshairs. We can just keep talking about it with our president and all the people that said they were going to give us information about this.
Okie dokie. Well, next up, former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel is jumping back into politics, and she'll be our first in-studio guest in our new digs here. We've been in for a couple weeks. Very excited for that. Stay tuned.